It is 8:13. The NHS has declared a critical incident after London hospitals were forced to cancel operations because of a cyber attack today. King's College London, Guy's and St Thomas's, Royal Brompton and Evelina London Children's Hospital have all been affected after their pathology partner, Synovis, was the victim of a major IT incident. Let's try and get a sense of what happened with Derek Mitchelson. He's Chief Information Security Officer for Checkpoint Software Technologies, and he's a former member of the NHS's cybersecurity team as well. Good evening to you, Derek.
Good evening.
Just explain what happened today. It is suspected to be a ransomware attack. Just tell us, why that's significant.
The details are quite sketchy at the moment. It's quite early to say exactly what's happened, but this provider is one of the critical service providers for the NHS, particularly in the London area and the south, and they do the pathology and the labs works. And what seems to have happened is the systems they are using have been hit with a ransomware attack, so the hospitals down south are finding it difficult to get the results of the bloods. Blood tests make up the heart of what they do with procedures within the NHS to do with anything from blood transfusions, from transplants to just routine tests. So it's a critical disruption to the NHS, the reliance on this third party that's been impacted.
OK, look, just tell us the ramifications. So if it's a form of ransomware, that's a piece of software, isn't it? And it's, it is often all about trying to freeze a computer system, lock a computer system to try and extort a payment for then restoring access to it.
Yes, what they often do with the healthcare is they often try and target the private sector or the third parties, the supply chain that provides services, to see if they'll be more keen to pay a ransom on the back of a disruption. It's too early to say exactly how they've delivered the ransomware. They could have encrypted the system, so the system no longer works the way it should have done. They could also potentially try to take data out of the system or the NHS, and then also look to use that data or sell it on the black market for commercial gains. So one thing for certain, there's a threat actor group that's looking to make some money at the back of this attack.
And look, there is a policy, isn't there? So the UK's national policy, articulated by the National Cybersecurity Centre, is that for national systems that are connected to taxpayers' money, no such payment will be made. Basically, we don't ever pay out for a ransomware attack for the threat of a system being frozen indefinitely.
That is correct. None of the healthcare systems, local authorities, anything connected with the national systems will pay out on the back of a ransom. But of course, it's a third-party private organisation that's been attacked on this basis. So we don't actually know if there may be a commercial value to them paying a ransom and trying to get their systems up and available much sooner. The problem with paying a ransom, however, is that the money goes into the pockets of the bad guys, and they invest that money to do more ransom attacks. So in many ways, all you're doing is you're actually fulfilling their end goal of more cyber attacks and more disruption, which is why we don't pay.
So we're talking about the SYNLAB Group here. It's a German medical services provider. They are the parent company or the overall controlling company of Synovis, which is the provider of these lab services to NHS Trust that we've been talking about today. So what you're saying is here, despite the NHS, I suppose for their own direct software not paying ransoms, there is a possibility, I don't know whether it'll happen, whether there's any instruction, but it is a possibility that this external private company who provides a service to the NHS could well just pay up to restore access.
They will be getting their own advice from their own legal teams or counsel. NCSA will play into that as well. And by default, we don't want to pay ransoms, but there's a lot of ransoms still get paid on the back of ransomware attacks. So that very much fuels why we get so many attacks. So we don't know the conversations that are going on. Potentially there may be conversations where they're actually talking to the ransom groups, potentially asking what the payments would be, how they would get the data back. Anything they do that gives them more intel on the group probably means that there's a better chance of actually getting the systems back, even if they don't pay.
Did you ever have to deal with anything like this in your time at the NHS?
So when I was in the NHS, we had a few small attacks. We had nothing of this size I joined after we'd had the large WannaCry attack and before we'd had the recent attack we had, unfortunately, down in Dumfries as well in Scotland. But no, I didn't have to deal with any of the big ransomware attacks in previous companies, yes, but not in healthcare.
OK, well, look, we've heard, or the Health Service Journal have heard from a senior source saying that having access to pathology results could take weeks rather than days. And all the while, we haven't probably mentioned this enough, we've got a system which is hugely disrupted. People who are waiting for important results and appointments to do with those results. That is all in chaos, Derek.
And potentially, of course, they could have impacted the integrity of the results as well. So it's not just access to the results. The system could come into an area whereby if the integrity of the results are in question, then that can also have a major impact on the providing healthcare, which is what we're trying to do. So this is an absolutely critical moment for the hospitals that have been involved. I'm hoping that they've got their business resilience plans in place, that they're able to use other hospitals, perhaps even other third parties to do the pathology results, because they need to get services up and running as quickly as possible.
Derek, thank you so much for being with us. That is Derek Mitchelson, Chief Information Security Officer for Checkpoint Software Technologies. It was a former member of the NHS cyber security team. Just offering a bit of insight there, really, on that NHS cyber attack that we've been hearing about today. The details are still loose, but it is thought it might be a ransomware attack, a piece of software that locks up a computer system to try and extort a payment from the provider. It is an external provider who's been affected here, but they provide the service to the NHS, and that has all been thrown into chaos this evening. And I know Nick Ellaby has been across this story 4 times, Radio 10. He was reporting about patients being sent to different places, having appointments cancelled. And a good point there from Derek, that actually it's not just results that might be delayed, but there is a possibility that the integrity of the results could be affected too. Interesting stuff. Let's talk to you about some of the other big stories of the day now. The Chief of the Metropolitan Police said concerns about misconduct investigations had reduced the number of stop and searches. Sir Mark Rowley said that searches had halved due to officers' fear of investigation if they take on criminals. He told the London Policing Board that protecting the public is only achieved if officers are confident that they can use their powers proportionally. A teenager has been jailed for at least 28 years for the murder of 2 men outside a nightclub in West Yorkshire in a row over a woman. 19-year-old Rashan Douglas stabbed another 19-year-old Haydar Shah and a 20-year-old Joshua Clark in Halifax in October. The third man survived and the court heard the attacks were within seconds of each other. A statement was read outside court on behalf of Mr. Shah's mother, Yasmin.
No words can ever describe the way I feel about the loss of my beautiful son. The emptiness, the physical and mental pain. I am destroyed. I am confused. My head aches, my body aches, and my heart aches.
And the world number 1, Novak Djokovic, has withdrawn from the French Open tennis quarter-finals due to a knee injury. The defending champion picked up the problem during his 5-set win over Argentina's Francisco Cerundolo yesterday. Speaking after the match, he said he wasn't happy with the state of the clay courts at Roland Garros.
Today, I injured myself. I survived. I won the match. Great. But will I be able to play next one? I don't know. Could have this injury be prevented? Possibly, if there was a little bit more of a frequent care of the court.
Those are some of your top stories of the day. When we come back, we'll discuss the Indian election. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has declared himself victorious in it, but he'll need to share.